Before the world pulls you in 100 directions, there's one thing you must train first: your mind. And Stoicism holds the key. Let me begin with this. I'm truly grateful you're here, and not just because you clicked on this video, but because what you're about to hear might just be the shift you didn't know you needed. It might be the moment where everything begins to change, not by force, but by focus. Because what if I told you the way you start your morning could quietly yet powerfully rewire the way you live your life? We all understand that mornings are important. They shape our mood, our momentum, and in many ways the direction of our day and even our destiny. But what most people overlook is this: it's not just about what you do in the morning. It's about what you say to yourself. The words you whisper into your own mind when the world is still quiet, those words can build resilience, sharpen clarity, and reinforce your sense of purpose. No need for long-winded self-help speeches or complicated morning routines. Just a few intentional words, repeated with presence, can become the anchors of mental discipline. Words that help you rise above chaos and claim control over your life. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. And in today's video, I'll walk you through 15 powerful Stoic affirmations. Simple lines you can say to yourself every morning to help you live with deeper clarity, more emotional stability, and stronger direction. Watch this video until the very end. Don't skip a single lesson. They build on each other like bricks of a fortress for your mind. And when it's over, I want you to leave a comment with just 5 words. I choose to live intentionally. So if you're ready to stop letting the past run your present, let's begin right now. Today is a new beginning. Each sunrise is more than just nature doing its thing. It's a quiet signal from the universe, gently tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Here's another chance." And the truth is, not everyone gets that chance. But you did. You opened your eyes. You're still breathing. That alone is powerful. That alone is reason enough to let go of yesterday. You see, this isn't just a motivational quote to feel good about. It's a mental reset, a declaration that you are not bound by what happened before. In the spirit of Stoicism, the past is dead. It holds no power unless you choose to resurrect it. Remember what Epictetus said: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So whatever happened yesterday, maybe you lost your temper, maybe you failed, maybe you disappointed yourself, it doesn't get to define who you are today. That power belongs to you. And the moment you open your eyes in the morning is your chance to claim it. Just imagine this. Yesterday, you snapped at a colleague. It was a small misunderstanding, but it ate away at you all night. You went to bed replaying it over and over, weighed down with guilt. But now, it's a new day. The sun is up, and you get to decide who you'll be from this moment forward. That's the beauty of Stoicism. It doesn't ask you to forget your mistakes. It asks you to learn from them and rise stronger because of them. But this morning, something is different. Today, you hold a quiet but powerful gift: the ability to choose differently. You can choose a new mindset, a new response, a new beginning. Maybe yesterday you let anger win. Maybe you said something you now regret. But today you can send a message. You can offer a genuine smile. You can walk into the same room, but this time leave your burdens at the door. 'Cause here's the truth. It only takes one decision, just one, to shift the course of your entire day. A single act of grace or courage can spark a chain reaction of growth. Every morning is a blank canvas, and whether you realize it or not, you are the artist. So ask yourself, what will I paint today? Will it be another copy of yesterday's regrets, another replay of fear and hesitation? Or will it be a fresh portrait of your better self, stronger, calmer, more patient, more kind? And let me tell you something important. A new beginning doesn't require that you have all the answers. You don't need to know your full path, your 5-year plan, or your life's calling. Sometimes a fresh start simply means choosing to rise, to get out of bed, to splash cold water on your face, to take one deep, honest breath and whisper to yourself, "Today I will do better than I did yesterday." That's it. That small act of self-awareness and intention is how transformation begins. Because when you approach your morning with grace instead of guilt and direction instead of despair, you're not just making today better. You're quietly, steadily shaping a life built on purpose. And it all begins with the decision to honor this morning for what it truly is, a new beginning. I have the ability to do great things. Let's be honest. It's far too easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt. Maybe things haven't gone your way lately. Maybe you're constantly comparing yourself to people who seem to have it all figured out. And so the questions begin to creep in. Am I really good enough? Do I even deserve to dream big? If you've ever felt that way, I get it. You're not alone. I've been there too. But I'm here to remind you of something essential, something easy to forget in the noise of the world. You are capable of greatness, not because someone else gave you permission, not because of likes, titles, or praise, but because the raw material for greatness has always lived inside you. Each person is born with a unique spark, a talent, a voice, a resilience. And even if life has thrown doubt your way, even if you failed, been overlooked, misunderstood, or judged, it doesn't erase your worth. It doesn't take away your potential. It doesn't silence your inner strength. You've already overcome more than you give yourself credit for. You've endured things you never thought you could. And you didn't just survive. You learned. You grew. You adapted. You've made it here. That means there's more in you than you realize. And if you found your strength once, you can find it again and again and again. Because your greatness isn't a one-time moment. It's a habit. It's a choice. It's something you build day by day, thought by thought, morning by morning. As Epictetus wisely said, no great thing is created suddenly. And he was right. Nothing meaningful, lasting, or truly great is built overnight. Success doesn't arrive wrapped in lightning and applause. It isn't some mystical stroke of fate. It's the quiet reward of consistency, of showing up even when motivation fades. One step a day, one small choice at a time. That's how mountains are moved. When you truly believe in your ability, something powerful happens. You stop waiting for permission. You stop hoping the world will validate you. Instead, you take ownership of your path. You act, not because it's easy, but because you've accepted that the journey is yours to make, step by step. That's the quiet power of greatness. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It's steady. It's persistent. It's patient. Think of Vera Wang. She once had a dream of becoming an Olympic figure skater. That dream didn't unfold the way she hoped. But did she stop? She pivoted. She spent 17 years as an editor at Vogue, then moved to Ralph Lauren, quietly learning, growing, evolving. But here's where it gets inspiring. At 40, an age when many people feel it's too late to start again, Vera found herself planning her wedding. She couldn't find a dress she loved, so what did she do? She designed her own. Most people would have dismissed the idea. A new career in fashion design at 40? Too risky, too late, but not for Vera. She didn't let numbers define her potential. She followed her curiosity, pursued her vision with full focus, and brick by brick, she built her brand. Today, her name is etched in the world of bridal fashion as a symbol of elegance, precision, and style. Vera Wang's story reminds us, you don't need to start early. You just need to start with belief, with conviction, with the decision to take one meaningful step. So tomorrow morning, don't just go through the motions. Don't just brush your teeth, scroll your phone, or sip your coffee half awake. Pause. Stand in front of the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes and say with calm certainty, I am capable of great things, and I am ready to receive them. Because once you believe, truly believe, the next step becomes clear. Action. But here's the question. How do you act? How do you transform belief into reality? How do you go from having potential to living it? That's what the next principle is all about. I will act today. We've all felt it. The quiet temptation to wait just a little longer. Wait until you're more prepared, more confident, less anxious. Wait until the timing is better, the fear is smaller, or the road ahead feels perfectly clear. But here's the truth. Perfect timing is a myth. Readiness isn't a place, it's a decision. Every minute you delay, you strengthen the illusion that you're not ready yet. But deep down, you know the truth. Action doesn't come after confidence. Confidence is built through action. So let today be the day you stop waiting. Not because you feel fearless, but because you're done letting fear run the show. Let's be honest. The perfect moment is a myth. It's a tempting illusion, whispering, just wait a little longer. But the longer you wait for everything to line up flawlessly, the more life quietly slips through your fingers. Because here's the truth. The only moment you actually own is this one. Right now, not tomorrow, not someday. Now, and if you keep holding off, waiting for clarity, waiting for courage, waiting for the stars to align, you'll look back one day and realize you spent more time preparing than living, more time thinking than doing. You'll have let days, weeks, even years drift by without taking a single real step toward your dream. Success, whether small or monumental, doesn't arrive in a lightning bolt. It doesn't knock politely when you're finally ready. It begins with movement, with one imperfect, courageous step forward, even if your hands are shaking, even if you feel uncertain, even if you're scared. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus captured it perfectly when he said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. In other words, don't just think Stoicism, live it. You don't need a full blueprint. You don't need to understand every variable. You just need to begin. Look at Thomas Edison. The man who gave the world the electric light bulb didn't wait to become a master of electrical science. He failed thousands of times and he still showed up. He experimented, adjusted, tried again. He moved through failure like it was part of the process, because it was. Every setback taught him something. Every attempt brought him closer. And eventually those messy steps led to a breakthrough that changed human history. Or think of J.K. Rowling. She wasn't sitting in a penthouse with a publishing deal and endless free time. She was a single mother, unemployed, living on government assistance, scribbling Harry Potter notes in cafes while her baby slept beside her. There was no ideal time. There was no safety net. But what did she do? She wrote anyway, every day, a few pages at a time. She didn't wait for permission or inspiration or the perfect environment. She simply acted. And that commitment transformed her life and touched millions around the world. Her story is a reminder. You don't need a flawless plan. You just need to start. So the next time you wake up and that little voice tries to convince you to delay your dreams, remember this. Today is not ordinary. It is an opportunity, a fresh canvas, a new strike of the hammer, a chance to take even one small step towards something meaningful. Because greatness isn't built in grand moments. It's built in mornings like this, when you choose movement over waiting. So say it with me now. Today I will take action. I will not wait. I will not delay. Every step I take today, no matter how small, matters. And I believe each one is bringing me closer to my dream. I am capable and confident in my ability to handle whatever comes my way today. Let's paint the scene. You wake up and immediately feel the weight of the day pressing in. The calendar is full. There's a high-stakes meeting, unanswered messages waiting, maybe a tough conversation you've been avoiding. Your heart beats a little faster. A knot forms in your stomach, and that voice in your head whispers, "Can I really handle all of this?" That's the precise moment you must pause. Take a slow, steady breath and say to yourself with conviction, "I am capable. I trust in my ability to handle whatever comes my way today." Because life, let's be honest, rarely goes as planned. Some days feel like smooth sailing. Others, like a storm you didn't see coming. But this affirmation isn't about pretending it'll all be easy. It's about remembering something deeper. You've done hard things before, and today is no different. In Stoic philosophy, true strength doesn't come from avoiding adversity. It's born from leaning into it, owning your response, and remaining grounded when everything else feels uncertain. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is your morning anchor, a reminder that the world outside may be unpredictable, but you are not powerless. You may not control the events, the emails, or the attitudes of others, but you can always control you, your choices, your breath, your response. And no matter what today throws your way, a rejection, a tense situation, a difficult decision, you already have what it takes to face it. You have resolve, the inner strength to keep going. You have reason, the clarity to think, not just react. And you have calm, the quiet anchor within you, waiting to be tapped. These are not traits you have to earn. They've been with you all along. They just need to be awakened, summoned, and lived through, one challenge at a time. Remember, confidence is not arrogance. It's not loud. It doesn't boast. It's the quiet, steady belief that even if you don't know exactly how yet, you'll figure it out. You don't need to see the whole path ahead. You only need to take the next step with a steady mind and an open heart. And this morning, that step begins with a simple, powerful truth. I am capable, and I believe in myself. If you've ever had a day where doubt met you in the morning, but determination carried you to victory by night, share that story in the comments. I overcame myself. Because maybe, just maybe, your story is the one someone else needs to hear today. I am grateful for my health, my loved ones, and the opportunities I have. Every morning before the rush begins, I take a quiet moment to remind myself of this truth. Not because everything in life is easy, not because every day feels perfect, but because if I can open my eyes, if I can feel the breath in my lungs, if I can look out and see the sky, cloudy or clear, then I still have a chance to try, to grow, to live. Gratitude is not reserved for perfect mornings or smooth seasons. In fact, the most transformative gratitude often arises when life is anything but easy. Because real gratitude isn't automatic. It's intentional. It's not a passive feeling. It's a choice, a mindset, a discipline. And sometimes it's a radical act of defiance in the face of struggle. Because when everything around you says, complain, collapse, give up, gratitude says, stand, appreciate, continue. Think about your health. Maybe you've taken it for granted. Many of us do until it's gone. But if you woke up today not in pain, not in a hospital bed, not hooked up to machines, then you received a gift, and maybe you didn't even notice. Think about your loved ones. Not everyone has someone who texts them, "Are you okay?" Not everyone has a friend who listens without judging. If there's even one person in your life who cares, you are already rich. And then there's opportunity. It may not be huge, it may not be glamorous, but the very fact that you're still in the game, still breathing, still trying, means something. It means you still have a shot, and many people no longer do. Take the story of Nick Vujicic, a man born without arms or legs. At just 10 years old, he wanted to end his life. He felt invisible, hopeless, broken. But then something shifted. Instead of drowning in what he lacked, he chose to focus on what he still had: a sharp mind, a strong heart, and an unshakable spirit. Gratitude didn't just help Nick survive. It empowered him to thrive. He went on to get married, have children, travel the world, and inspire millions. Not because his circumstances changed, but because his perspective did. That's the quiet power of gratitude. It doesn't erase struggle. It gives you the strength to endure it with dignity and depth. So tomorrow morning, whether you wake up to sunshine or a storm, pause, look up, breathe in, and say to yourself, I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for the people who love me. And I'm grateful for the chances, no matter how small, that life still gives me today. Because gratitude doesn't mean life is perfect. It means you're wise enough to see the value in what's still here. And that kind of mindset, that's how inner peace begins. I am not afraid of failure. If I'm being honest, the thing that held me back the most years ago wasn't a lack of talent. It wasn't a shortage of ideas. And it wasn't because opportunities didn't exist. It was fear, the fear of failure. There were projects I never started, not because I didn't care, but because I was terrified of doing them wrong. I turned down a promising job, not because I couldn't do it, but because a voice inside whispered, "You're not good enough." And then one day, after missing yet another chance to grow, I finally asked myself a simple question. What's the worst that could happen? And to my surprise, the answer wasn't nearly as scary as I'd imagined. Because failure, it's not the end. It's not a wall. It's a comma, a pause, a stumble, a breath before a breakthrough. Sometimes it's the very thing you need to recalibrate, refocus, and come back stronger. We're taught from a young age to avoid mistakes, to chase perfection, to be careful, to never fall. But if you look closely, if you zoom out just a little, you'll see the truth. Every success story is built on scars. Every legendary entrepreneur faced bankruptcy. Every beloved artist rejected, ignored, laughed at. Every wise soul schooled painfully by the blows of real life. So why do we still treat failure like a shameful secret? Why do we let it stop us from even trying? For me, it wasn't until I faced my first real failure, a small business project I poured everything into and lost every cent I had, that I began to understand the real lessons. Lessons no textbook, seminar, or YouTube video could teach. Patience, resourcefulness, courage. That failure didn't ruin me, it revealed me. It stripped away the illusion that I had to be perfect to be worthy. And from that moment on, I saw life differently. I began to believe deeply that failure is not punishment from God or the universe. It's a process, a teacher, a form of divine shaping. Maybe what we see as setbacks are actually setups. Maybe those detours aren't rejections, but redirections. Maybe, just maybe, we're being molded, not broken, but built. Because sometimes life isn't giving you what you want right now, because it's preparing you for who you're meant to become later. I began to see failure as evidence that something was in motion, that I was learning, growing, becoming. And you know what changed everything? Each morning, instead of dreading failure, I began to embrace it. I made peace with falling short. I let go of needing to have it all figured out. And I started moving, even when the path ahead was blurry. I chose to act, even when afraid. I chose to believe, even when uncertain. I chose to fail forward. And today, I hope you'll do the same. So when you wake up tomorrow, look yourself in the mirror and say, I am not afraid to fail, because failure is not the end. It is part of the path, and I trust where that path is taking me. I will face today with a positive attitude. In 1962, Nelson Mandela walked into Robben Island prison with a life sentence hanging over him. A small, cold cell, brutal labor, harsh treatment, 27 long years behind bars. He had every reason, every excuse to grow bitter, to let anger rot his soul, to give up hope, but he didn't. Every morning in that tiny space, Mandela made a quiet, defiant choice. He chose not to be broken. He chose to rise, even when the world around him tried to grind him down. He once said, I have learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. That wasn't just a quote. That was how he lived, every single day. It was this attitude, this inner light in the darkest of places, that not only kept him alive, but turned him into a global symbol of resilience, forgiveness, and leadership. He didn't just survive his prison sentence, he emerged from it ready to heal a broken nation. Now, you may not be locked in a physical cell like Mandela was, but let's be real. We all face our own invisible prisons. Stress from work, expectations from family, negativity flooding your social media, the heaviness of uncertainty. Life throws a lot at us, and it can feel suffocating. And in the midst of all that noise, there is one thing that always remains within your power: your attitude. You can't control the traffic. You can't predict the economy. You can't force people to behave how you want, but you can choose how you respond. That's the magic of a positive attitude. It isn't about denying reality. It's about choosing how you'll show up in it. It's not pretending everything's okay. It's saying, even if it's not okay right now, I will meet it with strength and hope. A positive mindset isn't naive. It's bold. It's brave. It's an act of quiet courage that says, I will not let darkness dictate the way I see the world, Because here's the truth. Bad things will happen. Plans will fall through. People will disappoint you. But those things do not deserve the power to control your spirit. And the beautiful ripple effect is this. When you stay positive, you don't just elevate yourself. You lift others too. Your energy becomes contagious. Your calm becomes grounding. Your optimism becomes a silent permission slip for others to believe again too. So when you wake up tomorrow, make a choice. A quiet, powerful internal vow. Today, no matter what comes my way, I will face it with a positive attitude. And before we move on, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something important. Thank you. Thank you for staying with me this far. The fact that you're still here tells me something powerful about you. You're not just listening, you're rebuilding. You're choosing awareness over autopilot. You're choosing intentional action over reaction. You're doing the work from the inside out. That's rare. That's inspiring. That's the mark of someone who's truly ready to grow. So stay with me, because what's coming next? It just might change the way you see yourself forever. I will treat myself kindly. Now let's move forward with one of the most overlooked, yet most powerful affirmations of them all. I will treat myself kindly. When we think of kindness, our minds often jump to how we treat others. A warm smile, a helping hand, a gentle word. But here's the truth. Kindness is not complete unless it also flows inward. Being kind to yourself means giving yourself permission to be human. It means acknowledging your flaws, your past missteps, and your messy moments, not with shame, but with compassion. Imagine how you treat a close friend who made a mistake. Would you scold them, belittle them, call them a failure? Of course not. You'd offer perspective. You'd remind them of their worth. So why don't we do the same for ourselves? The reality is, many of us are far kinder to others than we are to ourselves. We offer grace outwardly while being mercilessly harsh inwardly. One small mistake, being late to a meeting, missing a goal, forgetting something important, and suddenly that inner voice turns vicious. I'm so stupid. I never get anything right. What's wrong with me? Sound familiar? We become our own worst critic, our own personal bully. While offering others patience and understanding, we deny it to ourselves. And over time, that self-criticism doesn't make us stronger. It wears us down. But Stoicism offers another path. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you're distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Let that sink in. You have the power to change how you interpret your own stumbles. And that shift from judgment to curiosity is where self-kindness begins. Instead of punishing yourself when you fall short, pause and ask, what can I learn from this? How can I show up better tomorrow? Let's say you've fallen behind on a goal, like waking up early to exercise. Instead of slapping yourself with guilt and saying, I'm so lazy, try this. Maybe I aimed too high too soon. That's okay. Today I'll try again. Even 10 minutes is a step forward. Self-kindness isn't about lowering your standards. It's about supporting yourself with the same grace you offer to others. It also lives in the small, quiet moments. Letting yourself rest when you're genuinely exhausted. Saying no when you're overwhelmed without guilt. Making your favorite warm meal when you're feeling low, not out of indulgence, but out of nourishment. Stepping away from a toxic conversation instead of proving a point. Each of these acts whispers something important to your soul. I care about you. Even when you mess up, even when you fall short, you are still worthy of care. Because here's the ultimate truth. Treating yourself with kindness doesn't make you soft. It makes you strong. It makes you stable. It makes you whole. So every morning, take a moment before the world comes rushing in and whisper this truth to yourself. I will treat myself with kindness because I am worthy of love, patience, and forgiveness from myself. This simple act isn't self-indulgent, it's self-respect, and it will change the way you face the world. I am responsible for my own happiness. From the time we're young, we're subtly taught a lie that happiness is something we chase, that it lives in a new car, a promotion, a romantic partner, a dream vacation, or a future event that finally makes everything feel right. But as we grow older, something unsettling happens. We start to achieve those things, and yet happiness still feels distant, fleeting, temporary. Why? Because we made happiness dependent on things we don't control. We handed over the keys to our joy to circumstances, people, and outcomes. And when they disappoint us, they take our peace with them. But the Stoics knew better. They taught that happiness doesn't come from what happens around us. It comes from how we respond to it. As Epictetus famously said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We can't control the chaos outside. We can't script every scene in life's unpredictable story. But we can always choose how we meet those moments, with fear or with strength, with resentment or with wisdom, with blame or with personal responsibility. I once had a friend named Cindy. She hit what felt like rock bottom, a painful breakup, job loss, no family nearby. It all happened in the same month. Most people would have crumbled under that kind of weight. But Cindy, she did something different. Every morning before checking her phone or turning on the news, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. Sometimes it was simple: a warm blanket, a bird chirping outside her window, the taste of her morning coffee. Little by little, something shifted. Her external situation didn't magically fix itself overnight, but her internal world, her mood, her perspective, her sense of peace began to heal. That's what happens when you reclaim responsibility for your own happiness. It returns not in fireworks or grand gestures, but quietly, genuinely, permanently. So now every morning when I look in the mirror, I say to myself, I am responsible for my own happiness. I'm not waiting for someone to make me feel worthy. I'm not letting my environment decide how I feel. I'm choosing joy, even when things feel messy. Because happiness isn't something I find. It's something I create. It's a decision, a habit, a daily commitment to show up for myself with intention and clarity. So let me ask you, what will you choose today? Will you take ownership of your happiness? If you're ready, say it with me in the comments. I choose to take responsibility for my own happiness. And while you're there, I'd love to hear from you. What's one small thing that made you feel truly happy today? Let's celebrate the simple joys together. I have control over my thoughts and emotions. Let's be honest, life is unpredictable. Some mornings bring sunshine and ease. Others, a storm before you've even had your coffee. One unexpected text message, a careless comment, a disapproving glance, an email that stings. Even something as simple as a traffic jam during rush hour can throw off your whole emotional rhythm. Sound familiar? But here's the part we often forget. None of those things on their own have the power to ruin your day. Not unless you hand them that power, and that's exactly where Stoic wisdom shines. The Stoics understood one of the most powerful truths we can ever learn. You cannot control everything that happens around you, but you can always control what happens within you. That's not just a nice quote to stick on your fridge. It's a way of life. Your mind, it's sacred ground, and you and only you hold the keys. Picture this. You're walking to work, minding your own business, and out of nowhere, a stranger starts shouting insults at you. In an instant, your face heats up, your chest tightens, your mind races. What's their problem? Should I respond? Why me? But then, you pause. You take a deep breath, and you ask yourself, do I really want to give this random stranger control over my mood? Over my peace? And in that moment, something shifts. You realize choosing not to react impulsively isn't weakness. It's strength. It's emotional mastery. Being in control of your thoughts and emotions doesn't mean pretending you're unaffected. It means being present and intentional in how you respond. It means saying, yes, I feel anger, but I choose not to be ruled by it. Yes, I'm disappointed, but I'll turn this into a lesson, not a complaint. Self-control isn't about suppression. It's about self-respect. It's about honoring your inner peace so deeply that you no longer let the outside world dictate your inner world. Every time you repeat this affirmation, I have control over my thoughts and emotions, you're claiming your power back. You're reminding yourself that nothing, no one, no event, no glance, no comment can unbalance you unless you give them permission. And you don't have to, because here's the Stoic truth. You always have a choice. Even in chaos, you can choose calm. Even in pain, you can choose perspective. Even in frustration, you can choose growth. So say it with me now, out loud, like you mean it. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions, and today I choose peace, positivity, and strength. Because no matter what life throws at you, you are ready. I deserve success and happiness. There's a quiet, invisible belief that so many of us carry, often without realizing it. A belief that whispers, you have to prove yourself first. You're not there yet. Maybe one day you'll earn the right to be happy. But here's the truth. You don't need to earn joy. You don't need to suffer first to be worthy of success. You don't have to meet some impossible standard before you're allowed to feel proud, fulfilled, or at peace. From a young age, many of us were taught that only those who grind the hardest, sacrifice the most, or carry the heaviest burdens get to feel joy. We were conditioned to delay happiness, treating it like a distant reward for surviving life's hardest tests. But that's not Stoicism. That's conditioning. Stoicism teaches something far more freeing. It teaches that your worth does not come from achievement. It comes from within, from your ability to choose your thoughts, your values, your actions, from how you see yourself, not how others judge you. No one outside of you has the right to decide whether you deserve a good life. No job title, no social media follower count, no bank balance. You already deserve a meaningful life, one filled with love, purpose, and joy. You don't need to prove you're good enough. You don't need to check off every box to be accepted. You don't need anyone's permission to thrive. Your existence, your very breath, is already proof that you matter. So let go of that voice in your head. You know the one. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not worthy enough. It's lying. And the more you listen, the more it limits you. Instead, pause. Place your hand over your heart and remind yourself of this simple but life-altering truth. I am enough exactly as I am. You don't have to chase love. You can receive it. You don't have to beg for acceptance. You can stand tall in it. You don't need to break yourself down to be seen. You are already whole. And here's the magic. When you begin to believe in your worth, the world begins to reflect it back to you. People treat you with the same respect you offer yourself. Opportunities find you not because you beg for them, but because you move through life like you were born to receive them. The universe responds to the energy you send out. So when you move forward with gratitude, confidence, and a heart that's open, success and happiness stop feeling like distant dreams. They become your natural direction. So each morning, say it aloud. I deserve success. I deserve happiness. And I welcome both with gratitude. This is your moment to reclaim the joy you were always meant to feel. And if you're ready to take that even further, to shift your mindset in a way that transforms not just your day, but your life, then join me in the next affirmation. It's a small phrase, but it holds a quiet power that can completely change how you experience the world. I choose gratitude over complaining. Every morning before the world fully wakes up, before the noise, the deadlines, and the demands, you are given a quiet, powerful choice. You can begin the day by noticing what's missing, the goals not yet reached, the flaws still lingering, the problems waiting on your to-do list. Or you can choose something else. You can choose gratitude. Gratitude doesn't ask you to pretend life is perfect. It doesn't mean you ignore your pain or deny your struggles. It means you deliberately decide to focus on what is present and good, no matter how small, no matter how ordinary. And allow that awareness to lift your spirit. Because when you choose gratitude, you step out of scarcity and into abundance. Gratitude doesn't require you to have everything. It only asks that you recognize the beauty in what you already hold. That first sip of warm tea, a quiet moment of silence, a message from someone you love, the simple rhythm of your breath, calm, steady, alive. These aren't background details. They are everyday miracles, if you choose to see them that way. And in the very act of choosing gratitude, something profound happens. You reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of your mood, your routine, or your stress, and you start being the author of your mindset. Because here's the truth. Complaining is easy. It's automatic. It's reactive. But gratitude takes courage. It takes presence. It takes strength to say, yes, things are hard, and yet I'm still thankful. Think again of Nick Vujicic, born without arms or legs. His life could have been one long list of complaints. And yet he chose differently. He chose to focus on what he had: a sharp mind, a loving spirit, a voice to share with the world. And in doing so, he became one of the most powerful motivational speakers alive. Nick once said, I can choose to be bitter, or I can choose to be better. He chose gratitude, and millions of lives have been touched because of it. So tomorrow morning, when you catch your own reflection in the mirror, don't let your first thought be a complaint. Don't groan about the early hour or dread the work ahead. Instead, let your heart whisper, I'm grateful. I have this day. I have this breath. I have this chance. Because gratitude won't erase your problems, but it will reshape your perspective. And that shift in perspective, it can change everything. So let's make it real right now. Drop a comment below. Today, I choose gratitude. And tell me, what's one thing, just one, that you're grateful for this morning? Because your small moment of appreciation might just be the reminder someone else needed to see today a little more clearly. I am growing every day. Growing up isn't one big moment where everything clicks. It's not crossing a finish line or flipping a switch. It's a quiet revolution, a slow unfolding, a series of choices, small, consistent, almost invisible, that you make again and again. I know there are mornings when you wake up and wonder, have I really changed at all? Why does it still feel like I'm stuck? But before you let that doubt sink too deep, pause, take a breath, and remember this. Growth doesn't always make noise. It's not always fireworks and breakthroughs. Sometimes growth is a whisper in the background of your life, choosing not to respond to an insult, forgiving someone quietly, not for them, but for your peace, drinking enough water and putting your phone down at midnight, saying no to drama and yes to rest, writing down goals even when no one sees them, no one's applauding, no one's cheering, but something sacred is happening inside you. You are becoming. I once had a friend who called me late one night and said, I just want to give up. Everything I'm doing feels invisible, like it doesn't matter. But a few months later, she looked back and realized she didn't fear rejection anymore. She didn't obsess over what others thought. She no longer spiraled when things went wrong. She had become stronger without even realizing it. That's the beauty of real growth. It's not about proving, it's about persisting. Even Stoicism reminds us. Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly, not buildings, not relationships, not inner peace, and certainly not the person you're becoming. Each morning, stop waiting for a miracle to land in your lap. Be the miracle. Show up. Choose better. Even just a little better than yesterday. And on the days when you feel slow, when progress feels invisible, when self-doubt creeps in, stand in front of that mirror, place your hand on your chest and say, I am growing every day, and I believe that every step, no matter how small, is leading me closer to the best version of who I am. Because it is. And here's the most powerful twist in this whole journey. Once you start growing from within, you'll eventually reach a moment of stillness, a moment where another question begins to form. If I don't need to become anything more to feel worthy, maybe I'm already enough. And that simple truth, quiet, humble, yet powerful, might just be the one that frees you. Let's explore that together in the final part. The final affirmation, the one that brings it all home. I am complete within myself, in a world that never stops whispering, be more, look better, earn bigger, become someone else. It's easy to forget one quietly powerful truth. You are already whole, not someday, not after the promotion, not when you finally fit into that version of success you see online, but right now, in this very moment, exactly as you are. I know there are mornings when you wake up and feel like you're falling behind. You open your phone and scroll through curated lives, smiling faces, exotic places, achievements lined up like trophies. And you wonder, why don't I feel like that? Why am I not enough yet? But pause for a second. What you're seeing is a highlight reel, not the full story. You're not seeing the doubts, the hidden insecurities, the silent battles behind those polished images. And here's the truth. You're not in a race. You're not here to outperform. You're here to live authentically, bravely, and honestly as yourself. Your value has never been tied to likes, labels, or comparisons. It comes from one thing: your courage to be exactly who you are. I remember a conversation with a friend, a young artist who felt like giving up because her paintings didn't sell. She said, "Maybe I'm just not good enough." But over time, something shifted. She stopped painting to impress. She started painting to express, not to win approval, but to pour her soul into the canvas. And the moment she let go of needing validation, her work began to touch people. She didn't change to fit the world. She found strength in the truth that she was already enough. And from that space, everything else began to grow. So tomorrow morning, when you stand in front of the mirror, don't search for what's missing. Look into your own eyes and say, "I am already whole. I am complete within myself." You don't need to be fixed to be worthy. You don't need to become someone else to be loved. This isn't arrogance. It's deep acceptance. It's knowing that growth isn't about filling a void. It's about honoring who you are as you keep becoming. And when you live from that place of grounded wholeness, the world starts responding not because you've changed, but because you've finally become fully, unapologetically you. And there you have it, 14 affirmations, not just to start your day, but to shape your mindset, your heart, and your entire way of being. Because real change, it doesn't begin in the world, it begins inward, with the words you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening. Thank you for being here, for choosing presence, for choosing intention, and most of all, for choosing yourself. If this video brought you any value, I'd be honored if you'd hit like, share it with someone who might need it, and leave a comment below. I choose to live with intention. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Your journey has already begun, and I'm grateful to walk a part of it with you.